Yeah,
Okay,
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Where are you right now?
I'm at home actually.
Oh,
Weekends are
that's
off
nice.
for me.
That's nice. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna wait 5 more minutes. We're waiting for someone to open, and also for Hassan, and maybe Trayu will join us.
Ah, okay.
He said that he will be late for 5 minutes. So hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, Mohammed, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's it going?
It's good, man. Right. So, all right. So when the guy who's supposed to open comes, okay, we're gonna start. So he's a volunteer, and we're trying to like train the volunteers to like do public speaking and other administrative stuff. You know
I see. How's the tenure so far?
what?
How's the SP tenure so far?
Oh, surprisingly, it's like it's harder, but we're actually more active now, which is weird. We've had many conferences in other chapters, and because it's online, many other universities made like organizations, so we have many roundtables, and we don't have to spend money for a ticket, to go to the meeting.
Exactly. That's better. I see you guys are quite active on LinkedIn as well, which is quite good.
Yeah, that's all thanks to our social media manager, Nesrahan. She's here in the meeting.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, your team is doing a remarkable job. I've seen you guys quite active on Instagram as well with all the, oil price postings and on LinkedIn as well. That's quite good. Also, you're participating with the meetings at that time. Since no one wasn't that into online meetings, right now it's a necessity. So of
Yeah.
course, you guys, it's better that you guys have the chance to, talk with other guys as well. It's good.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's a huge compliment, Maz. Thank you so much. Seriously.
No, you guys deserve all the credit, and especially in these times, these are quite difficult times and quite unconventional times as well. No one was expecting
Yeah.
a pandemic like this, but it's really, I mean, you guys deserve all the praise.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Okay, in 2 minutes, if this guy doesn't show up, I'm starting.
Hassan will be coming in 5 minutes. He said me.
Okay, all right, sure.
Yeah.
So,
How are you, Maz? How are you, Nandana? How is the rest of people? Ismat, Nasir, Tiha, and Neslihan?
From my side, I'm good. Hassan just sent another text. He's just getting coffee. It's 10 actually.
Okay, so we'll wait for coffee. So those of you who are not showing your videos, does anyone want to start in case this guy doesn't come? Just for like experience, Nasser, Ismet, Fateh, Nesrahan, or Ulash? You guys wanna? If you want to say no, it's okay. You can type in WhatsApp and I'll read it from there in the group. Just say no or yes. Okay.
Where's that echo coming from?
Is it still there now? Okay, anyway, so because I'm using the free version of Zoom, we can extend it if you want, but there's a time limitation, which is 40 minutes, but I think we can handle it.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you guys want to start now or should we wait for Hassan?
Hassan is coming, so it's up to you.
Okay, I just hope, okay, all right. Okay. Hey guys, I'm not available right now, so I can't speak. Sorry for that. Okay, no problem. Okay. Nasser, Ismet, would you guys like to try? Okay. Ulash? Would you like to try?
But I'm not prepared right now, so thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yalla Hassan, yalla. This guy. So I prepared a few topics that I got from the from the questions that I put on Instagram and people replied.
Okay.
Okay. Podcast.
So I guess Ular is trying to speak. Sorry for interruption,
Yeah.
but he couldn't prepare his settings, so he will come. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So Fateh wants to speak.
No, just tell me. So
Oh, okay.
Ulash, right? But
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay. So this is not going to be like formal. We want to keep this a conversation instead of like a technical seminar. So I guess we'll just start. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is our first podcast. Today we have Maz bin Furqan with us. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
And Muhammad Al Saleh as well.
Hello.
And maybe Hassan Khalid will also join us. They are our alumni, and Maz is currently working, and Muhammad is doing his master's, and so is Hassan. So, all right, so we're gonna break the ice first, and I'm gonna start with a stupid joke. Okay. How do you make 7 even?
Take
I don't
the
know.
S out.
You take away the
yes.
S.
Yes.
Okay, that was terrible. Okay, I should go kill myself. All right. Okay. Okay, so all right. First question. Gun to your head. What is your most memorable moment during your bachelor's? Your best or your worst?
Let's give Asaf the chance first, then I'll answer.
During the bachelor's, it was the moment like we started doing the design together, me, Hassan, and Maaz, and we had a good work, a good friendship, and we kept it till the end. So far, we're calling like once a month, so that was a good thing. Exactly, yeah. So
That's
we
very-
keep in touch always. Yeah,
That's very nice. You
that
guys,
was good. I can
romance.
say. I hope
Yeah,
your
I mean,
design group. I hope your design group had the same thing. You're still friends and good getting into.
Yeah, we do, bro. We do. Maz?
Perfect.
for me, yeah, the same thing, but also the thing which I remember the first time I actually, realized that I am in an engineering school is when I had the first session with Murat Hoja, Mac 113. That seemed like, the software itself. I mean, although the classes, as time went by, the classes, it started becoming boring and quite long as well. For extended periods of time, we missed, I think, 1 or 2 orientation sessions as well. But other than that, yeah, I mean, if you ask me, that and our design group, still we are in contact.
That's nice. That's very lovely. So Hassan, our first question was gun to your head. What's your most memorable moment in your bachelor's? Best or worst moment, whichever one.
You should tell him the joke first, then you can proceed.
Okay.
Morning, guys.
Hassan,
Good morning, Hassan.
warning. As an icebreaker, I told the joke.
Uh-huh.
How do you make 7 an even number?
Oh.
An even. How do you make 7 even?
I don't know.
You take away the S. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your most memorable moment?
Definitely the design group meetings, I would say, will be there. And I would say I guess the graduation session in Met NCC. I think that was the one of the best moments. I remember after like we went to the ceremony, and then like there was some food which I sadly missed. I remember probably got finished. And then I remember once there was a ceremony, then there was like a video showing all the moments throughout the years. I think some like different students shared the like pictures and some videos. And then I remember once we finished this, and then I think for our class, I remember we went to. I remember me, Maz, I think Muhammad. I don't know if Muhammad was there, but I remember me, Maz. I think Muhammad was there as well, and the other guys. We went to. I remember we went to Mardo. It was in the night, I guess, at that time, 7, 8. We
I
went to
skipped.
Mardo. I think, and then yeah, we just sat there and just taking it all in, and then we were just discussing about like future plans and just cracking some jokes and all that. But I remember this. I think this was a memorable day. I don't know if Maz remembers this.
Yeah, it was at Segafredo, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
And
Sega Fred, huh?
yeah, and we had the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
guys as well,
yeah.
Nabil, Victoria, all these guys, Morris,
Exact Sega Fred.
Ismail.
Yes. I forgot this word. Yes, exactly, Sega Fred. Exactly.
All right, so all you guys actually had the same answers, which was design group plus graduation. All right. So all right, so here's one we got from our third year student, I think, or second year student. In a short list, what are the do's and don'ts after graduation? I guess there are too many, so maybe you guys can come up with like the top 3 do's and the top 3 don'ts.
Okay.
All right,
The do's after or before? Oh, what did you say?
after graduation.
After graduation.
The do's and the don'ts after graduation, yeah.
Well, this is a bit tricky, but the do's after graduation. I mean, you should, of course, you should first. Before prehand. Before it, I think you should have at least tried to figure out something. Like once you know that you're gonna graduate, let's after a certain time. I mean, you should have a pre-plan, I would say. Of course, like we don't know definitely like what's happening in 3 months, 6 months time, especially after how this pandemic has showed us. But at least you should have something in mind, and then the do's would probably be to execute that pre-plan that you had mostly. And then yeah, I mean, of course, after finishing, you would probably increase. Like I would say as well some extra skills and knowing the things like how the industry has evolved or some other aspects, like just to add to your skills, probably some courses and I don't know, some online courses and all that. And yeah, as well try to find a job, and maybe as you already had something in mind before, and so definitely you would try to execute probably the pre-plan that you had. The don'ts would be I guess not to panic in the beginning. I mean, if that plan didn't let's say go straight to your like execution and like you wanted how the plan would go out. So definitely you would take it step by step, and maybe it might take you 1 year to exactly figure out like what would exactly be the path that you're heading, for instance. So definitely like don't panic, and yeah, to take it like one step at a time, I would say.
For me, like if you ask me, I'd say that if you wait for the dues till the like after graduation, it's by that time it's already too late. So you should start thinking about things beforehand, like Hassan said. But even before that, I mean, even if you don't wait for, okay, you graduated, now the do's I would say is to, keep on reviewing the things while you're searching for a job. Keep on reviewing the things you studied. Also, try to gain experience in some other aspects as well. I mean, mostly our education over there at Metu was that we were more focused on technical side. But other aspects, there are a lot of new technologies going on. For example, I recently attended a webinar session, although it was quite brief, like for 40-45 minutes, but they were talking about carbon capture technology, also how to use that even after that. So previously it was just carbon capture. Now they are also thinking of how to utilize it, not just in oil and gas sector, but in other sectors as well. And one another thing is, of course, the job market is quite tough these days. You need to be, quite active. You shouldn't be, disheartened if you didn't get selected or anything. There are numerous opportunities. You can search for it, although yeah, the competition is quite tough. Service companies such as Schlumberger, Halliburton, these big four companies, Baker, they do have some job postings. So you need to keep applying. Try to review your CV and your resumes as well if you talk about your job aspect. But other than that, it's not the end of the world. For me, because I personally believe, and I advise it to all my other colleagues as well who are still searching for a job, that uh, I strongly believe in that whatever is written in your fate, whatever is written for you, you will get it, no matter what the universe is trying to do. You will get it. So you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in your fate as well. You shouldn't be disheartened. You should keep trying. For the don'ts, also another do is to keep your memories and everything intact. Like I have a folder with all the pictures and everything, so when I am feeling very nostalgic, I go over those pictures still. We have that graduation video as well. Just before this, like to test my microphone, I was just watching that. So yeah, I mean, so just try to keep all your memories intact. Try to have them, view them, keep in touch with your friends. The don'ts I would say is, again, it was covered, that don't be disheartened. Keep looking for jobs. Try and identify the aspects in which you can apply your knowledge. There are different industries in which you can join. There's another alumni of ours, Zen. He's working in downstream industry, although our degree was more focused towards the upstream industry. So yeah, you need to explore all these options, and just do not lose hope. That's what I would say.
Mohammed, anything?
Yeah, I remember that I asked myself that question before I graduate, actually, like 3 months, 4 months. I went to Emre Hoja and I asked him, like, now I'm graduating. What's the next step? What should I do? I mean, Emre Hoja, like, he is like really lovely. He just give you the exactly
Yeah,
what he has in mind. So I asked him for some applications like CMG and PipeSim and these applications you're using for the design. I told him, should I be like expertise in these things or not? So his answer was telling me like, just use the machine learning, for the machine learning, try to get information about it and work in it. And also he gave me an advice after graduation. He said, he told me that you will be frustrated for a moment, you will feel it, but you have to deal with it. And this had happened actually. So my plan was, first, before graduation, I put three plans. The first one is to get a job, which was difficult that time. The second one, the master, and the third one, to get a job in another sector. So yeah, I just like, you have to prepare a plan before your graduation. Prepare the CV before even finishing the last semester. I mean, with the start of the last semester, prepare your CV, start applying. And I believe there is one of your batch guys, or no, like the last year batch. He applied for an internship to Schlumberger, and he got an offer actually, like he signed a contract with them, but the fact that he has one semester left, so he couldn't go for it. So yeah, just try your chance. I mean, just look everywhere, prepare your CV earlier, and plan for job first, and plan for the what's called the master. If you're not planning already for the master, and have like a pre-made plan. I mean, that's what I can say. And don't be frustrated after your graduation. It's fine. Like 1 month, 2 months, and the guys knows that this is my situation. I was talking with them, but yeah, I mean, everything settled down. I'm great now, and everything is in his way.
All right, that's great. So to summarize, number one, have a plan and then focus your soft skills, follow on new tech trends, be active and connected, and keep your memories. For the don'ts, don't panic, don't be disheartened, and consider the other industries and other sectors as viable options. Okay, all right. So, okay, yeah. So Neslahan says, thank you for sharing your experience. Her mic isn't working. She says she has a question. If you were us, is there anything you would definitely do or learn? Wait. Thank you for sharing experiences. I have a question. If you were us, is there anything you would definitely do or learn? Like right now, you mean in your bachelor's? Yes. That's your question. In university, yeah, okay. Anything extra, I guess, what she means, other than petroleum engineering.
I think your second year or third year? I think she's third year, right?
Neslahan is third year, yes.
Third year. Okay, I would suggest what's called a minor, but now it's too late. I think third year already
I think
passed.
Neslahan is already taking a minor, right, in economics, was it?
That's great then. I mean, she's going in the right direction, in my opinion.
Okay.
And yeah, economics, that's what I was going to say.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I was going to say minor again, but in university, I would say she did not continue.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, I mean, it varies from person to person, but I'd say other than other than academically, you can be more active. Try to make as much friends as you can. Try to value this time. Of course, you're in your third year. You shouldn't panic actually, and you should enjoy these 2 years, because right now, even whenever I'm talking to any university student, I tell them the same thing: enjoy your time. Try to make it as memorable as you can, because I'm not scaring you of the professional world, but of course when you enter into professional world, then professional work life, then of course it's very hard to find any time. So go out, try to capitalize on this, try to enjoy this time. Also, if you're in, of course you guys are in Metu, so try to explore. Of course there's not much to explore in Cyprus, but still try to go out, try to explore as much as you can, spend time with your friends. That's what I would say.
Okay. So do you guys have any other comments, or should we move on to the next question?
oh, you made me.
Okay, all right.
That's that.
We'll move on then. All right. Thank you, she says.
You're
So
welcome.
some of our first and second year students would like to know what's the current situation of the job market.
This is a question to ask Tomas.
Yeah, that's definitely in Mars' sector.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, to be honest, these days it's quite tough. Although the prices, there is a rebound in the oil prices, but this recent pandemic has changed a lot of things actually. Companies are, they are shrinking. They're trying to move more towards renewables. Although it's kind of like ironic actually, because I was just reading that that carbon capture technology is being funded by an Exxon and Chevron. So those companies, they're paying that company to capture carbon dioxide, which is good for the environment, but then again they're using that same carbon dioxide to produce more oil. So it's like a cycle actually. But yeah, I mean, the job market itself these days, it's quite tough. Try to get internship experiences. Of course, if in the start you're unable to secure a job, do not worry. Try to find internships are available. You can apply to different companies even after graduating, and they do cater you if you have a strong enough profile, or even if you're willing. It all depends on the interview as well. So try to prepare yourself also for the job. again, I'd advise you to prepare yourself before the interview. Of course, right now these days, even being called for an interview is, you should consider yourself lucky because there are a lot of applicants. So if you're being called for an interview, be prepared, be fully prepared. If you are applying, for example, for an entry level drilling engineer or a production engineer, you should go over everything regarding drilling, the basic concepts, because they would expect you that since you're a fresh graduate, your knowledge on these subject is, crystal clear. So of course they won't ask you that too deep technical questions. I've been to interviews. I applied for I'd share my experience that I applied for ENI as well as a graduate trainee, and they had first they had an initial, you can say, a test, kind of a written test. It was basically general knowledge, uh, basic English, and some math. So I was able to clear that. Right after that, I had an interview with their HR department. So they were asking me about my goals. For example, why do I want to join this company? So this question is, quite important. You need to research a bit about the company, about the history of that company in that specific region. For example, in Pakistan, since ENI is an Italian company, but over here it's working as another operating company over here, but it's not based in Pakistan. So of course they would ask you that, what is your plan? I mean, are you just joining us as a stepping stone, that you want to join this company and then you want to join another company? So you need to be well prepared. The job market, yeah, I'd say it's quite tough these days. I've seen, you guys, if you guys have LinkedIn, you must have seen it on LinkedIn feed that people with 10 years, 15 years experience are also, jobless these days because of the recession and because of the oil prices when they went down. uh, some companies are near bankruptcy as well. But other than that, I mean, to look towards the positive side, try to, of course there are hardships in every profession. You should be positive. You should be, if you're thinking of continuing in the same path, try to, be more active, search for jobs more actively, uh, because there are a lot of opportunities. You can, other than these four big names, Schlumberger, Weatherford, try to search for other companies as well. I mean, there are other companies as well where you can join, which do not have that high expectations, and you do not even require that thing which is known as the reference. Like, you need to know someone, some contacts in that company. You can apply over there as well. Try to, increase the your job search basically. Just make it more frequent, and try to increase the boundary of your job search as well.
All right, that's a great answer. Thank you so much, Maz.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, okay. Okay, so we got a question here from Ismet. He says, can you tell me about the paths you chose after graduation, like doing master or being assistant, teacher's assistant, etc., and how is it going? Thanks.
Yeah, these questions are directed towards Mohammed and Hassan, since they're the one who are doing masters.
All right.
Go on, Mohammed, go on.
Hassan, yes, please. Okay, I can start. No, for doing the master wasn't my plan actually. My plan was just to go for the assistantship basically, not for the master itself, because I'm doing here sustainable environment and energy systems, which is, I mean, conflict directly with the petroleum things, with the things we're doing. I mean, not directly. I'm just kidding, but try to look for a master. I don't know, in different sector. This is my opinion. Don't do it again in the petroleum, because there's uncertainty that you will be able to what's called to proceed in this sector. I mean, directly going for what's called reservoir production or drilling engineering. I don't know. I'm not sure if you will get this opportunity. I hope so. But to increase the chance of getting into the field, do it in different sector. And MBA is a good one. I think you can go for it. And if you plan to start to do this thing, I mean, just start it early, as I said, you like one semester before you graduate, or even 1 year maybe. Just prepare your papers and do it.
All right, Hassan, you got anything?
Regarding the pathways, I would say in the beginning, I mean, you should have, let's say, a career path that maybe, probably, I think maybe in the third, fourth year, you would see like, oh, maybe I want to, let's say, go into reservoir engineering, drilling, or production engineering, for instance, in the beginning, right? Third, fourth year in the end. But then when you take the master course, it depends, because there are some universities that that, let's say, teach, for instance, just reservoir engineering, for example, like a master course in reservoir engineering, a master course in drilling engineering, or another thing, okay? And then there are other programs like which I'm doing, like it's a master's in petroleum engineering. So it's like we're taught reservoir, drilling and production, and some other courses. So then in the end, like in your thesis, for example, then you would think of which path you're going to take. But in the, let's say, in the first year, I mean, you're going to take courses. It's going to be a lot of content, and you would try like to focus on the courses first, and then later on, let's say in the second year, you would then think of, now this is based on your decision. Like maybe, okay, I want to, let's say, go into reservoir engineering, drilling engineering, or maybe production, and then your thesis would probably be focused in those one of those three areas. So for instance, in my case, I'm moving like towards reservoir engineering. So I would like go like into that specialization. And the other thing, I think as the person mentioned, you can, it's not a must, like let's say, to go into petroleum engineering, as also how Mohammed has mentioned. I mean, there are other universities which offers energy masters in energy programs. And in those masters of energy programs, there is different specialization. There is renewables, there is, I don't know, nuclear energy, there is, and also one of the pathways is like the sustainability. So for example, the CIS program in Metro NCC is a part of a bigger picture of an energy program, but it is a subcategory of the sustainability. But in the energy program, there is different categorization. There is the sustainability, there is nuclear programs, there is renewable energy programs, and there is the sustainability programs. So, I mean, in the meantime, like how the industry is going and with all the things is going, so I mean, you would think of, let's say, then I would probably like prefer to go to renewables, for instance. So it's at the moment it's a big course, and it has kind of a big demand as well, the renewables. But it's a bit different. I mean, just know that when you're transitioning from from your background, like petroleum engineering, moving on to a very different dimension, like let's say renewable energy, for example, or something like that, you would need to have the extra push for the knowledge that you will learn them, because most of the times it will be very new content to you, like when you definitely take a huge step towards a different career path. So you would have the background knowledge of the petroleum engineering, but when you're moving to the masters, like in the renewables, for example, you will be taught the things, but most probably most of the things would be so new to you that in the beginning you might feel lost completely, because it happened this in my class, like mechanical engineering students doing masters in petroleum, and like it didn't go well for them, like when they like moving from mechanical engineering to petroleum in the masters. And I think maybe in the first month or second month, like the person like somehow changed, because everything was new to him, like seeing diffusivity equations and all that. You're moving from like mechanical engineering, so it's definitely difficult. But it's not that it's impossible, but it's, you need to put the extra effort, because it's a totally new career you're going to take, or maybe it's a totally different pathway you're going to choose. So this would be my I think my advice.
Okay,
I
that's
just want
great.
to add.
Thank you so much. Yes,
I
Mohammed.
just want to add another thing for Ismat. If you're planning to come in here, I'm telling you, it's like sustainable environment and energy systems cease, but you can deviate. I mean, you can in a way do your thesis in a way linked to petroleum. Like for example, me, I'm doing risk assessment in the petroleum, which is kind of in both like what's called the health, safety, and environment system in the oil field, and also toward the sustainability. So you're doing two things, and I mean two sectors in one in one thesis. So it will be easy for you. I mean, don't think that if you're coming here, you will not be able to achieve anything toward petroleum. You will. I mean, if you do hard working, like you would reach it.
All right, you hear that, Ismet? Yeah. So he says thank you. Okay. So I don't know if this meeting is going to end soon or not, but if it is, and would you guys like to continue another half an hour? I can schedule another meeting, and I'll send you guys the link from Messenger.
It's fun for me.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Sure. Another question here is just what are your thoughts on the oil prices and their fluctuations? Any comments, anything whatsoever?
Mr. Maz, okay.
Like based on the activity these days, of course, companies are a bit reluctant in releasing funds in the exploration sector. If you guys don't know, I'm working as a wireline engineer. So we have jobs at rigs as well and at production facilities as well. So the exploration jobs these days we have in Pakistan, if I give you a little background, we have 3 or 4 major exploration companies actually. So 2 of them are government owned. They have some shares in it, and another one is totally a Chinese group actually. Since it was actually BP over here, it was operating over here, and then because of that uh, explosion at the Makandu well or Deepwater Horizon, if you know it from there, they had to close down their operation and then they had to sell their assets. So that company is now, took over the assets of BP over here in Pakistan. They have almost 100 or 150, between 100 to 150 wells already done over here in Pakistan. And last year they did, I think, 4 or 5 new wells actually. So these days the activity is quite down right now. You'd say that the companies are a bit reluctant in releasing their funds as well. So, but it all depends on how the renewable sector turns out. Might have heard about that storm in Texas and that power outage in Texas. So that is raising some questions on the renewable sector as well, that whether it is really sustainable or not, and also the cost involved in renewable energy. I mean, people think that since it's renewable, it must be cheap, but that's not always the case actually. There is a huge initial investment that is required for running these systems, and you need to be prepared for contingencies. For example, the windmills in Texas, I mean, they were frozen, so they were trying to, basically melt the ice from them using a helicopter. They were, putting some hot water or something. I don't know the details, but that was one picture I saw. So yeah, I mean, the companies, it depends. It all depends on the post-pandemic strategies of the company. Oil prices, of course. Then again, as working in a service company, I mean, I would say that it depends on the big players. For example, the US policy towards Saudi Arabia as well. And again, I mean, I would say that oil prices right now, they do seem to be in the upward trend, but I see them to be halting in the next couple of months, because we would see right now and almost everywhere, everything is open. The lockdown phase is almost over everywhere. So they would remain between 60 and $70 per barrel, as per my prediction.
That's great. Thank you so much. When I was on LinkedIn, I saw this some guy who was posting on like he made a post. So this, like you said, the windmill, which is made out of fossil fuels, is
Yeah.
being melted by this helicopter who's running on fossil fuels using
Yeah.
chemicals made from fossil fuels. Right. So I wish I had that picture, but I don't. Anyways. So the next question is, oh, okay. So we've got a question here. I think Imran is in prep school. if I remember correctly. I saw that petroleum engineering is divided into various branches. In some places, can you fully open these definitions, such as production engineer, reservoir engineer? Oh, yeah, that's very easy. So you guys, any comments on this?
Well, the name is quite self-explanatory. Drilling engineer, they're involved in the drilling phase. Also, in drilling engineering, of course, if I talk briefly, drilling engineer, if you talk just about drilling engineer, it's mostly involved in drilling. But even as a drilling engineer, you might have different roles. Some engineers are involved in the planning phase of a well. Some engineers are there on the well site, monitoring the drilling process. So there are a lot of roles. As a drilling engineer, yeah, your basic duty is to monitor the drilling operations, but whether it's in the office, in the planning stage, or on the well site, it's a completely different story. Same goes for production engineers as well. Production engineers, they do have their job, still continues till the life of the well. They are involved mostly, for example, if I relate it to my field, like as a wildline engineer, we have perforation jobs, we have reperforation jobs as well. After a while, the perforations, the holes in the casing, they get clogged up. So in order to open them, we go for a reperforation job. So these jobs are basically ordered by the production department of a company. Then again, in production, there is another segment called completion. So there are completion engineers as well. There is not a degree, some specific degree for that, but it falls in the domain of production engineering. And then comes reservoir engineering. Of course, they are involved in every phase. Even before the well is drilled, they are involved there to make the estimations and everything. So yeah, reservoir engineering itself is quite a technical field. It requires a lot of thinking, since you are, again, I would say that in reservoir engineer, you're unable to see what's going on actually. You're just making predictions, you're doing simulations, you're trying to predict what's going to happen and what is beyond the subsurface. For drilling engineer, of course, it's more mechanical work. If you're on the well side, same goes for production engineer. You have some fluid coming to the surface, so okay, this is coming, you have an idea. For reservoir engineering, your imagination needs to be quite strong. You need to be ready for a challenge, because you never know, you change one parameter and all of a sudden everything changes.
Right. So that's actually a very comprehensive answer. Thank you so much for that, Mas. If you were a bachelor student, you would not answer like that, but now because you're working, you can answer it like
Yeah.
that.
Of course, I mean, this is what you get. I mean, once you enter in the professional world, you realize like there were a lot of aspects which were not covered by the professors. They were more into the technical side, the technical aspect, but operational aspects are completely different. For example, you cannot really apply all the theoretical knowledge you learn in your bachelor's. You need to be ready to adapt to different situations. Adaptability is one of the traits which a good petroleum engineer should have. You need to be flexible, you need to be adaptable, you need to adapt to different situations. For example, after graduating, I was not looking for a job as a wireline engineer, but I ended up becoming a wireline engineer. So you need to adapt to different times and different situations.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much. So our next question is, when you were applying for a master's degree, what are some things they were looking for? Grades, right? And GRE, I guess if you're going to the US, it's GRE.
Yeah.
Good
It's
grade.
exactly what's called the English exam, the proficiency exam, IELTS or TOEFL, and there is also PTA, I believe, in Turkey. All universities are accepting that one, and they are looking for your diploma, the CGPA, and yeah, I mean that's all. And you have to apply early. I mean, at least one semester, as I say, one semester before for sure. So you have another chances too, because like there's a lot of universities and it's like very challenging. So
And
All
for
right.
scholarships, even earlier than that, because securing an admission is not enough these days. Education is quite
exactly.
expensive as well. So you need to be prepared, you need to make the preparations early on, give all these complementary exams beforehand, and then apply for a degree, so that you have a chance of securing a scholarship as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to look. Some universities have set in a date for like what's called due dates for the application. So you have to look for this one as well. By saying one semester before, at those days, you have to look for these due dates. So for the next semesters, yeah.
All right, thank you guys so much. So we've got another question here, also from Emirhan. He's a prep year student. Says, do you think a petroleum engineer should work in the field or at the desk? Which one do you think is better? I guess we could just talk about the advantages and disadvantages of that.
No, it all comes down to the preference, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Preference.
I mean, not everyone is designed, and mentally prepared to work in the field. You have to be away from your home. Although, I mean, studying at a university and working in the field are two very different things. Although you might be studying in a different country away from your home, but that's a different environment. Working in the field, it's quite different. Uh, in of course, in exploration companies or in client companies, you have the luxury of having good rotation periods. For example, 10 15 days on, 15 days off. But in service companies, sometimes you're working for 2 months and you just get like 15 days or 1 month off. That is in a good company, actually. I have a colleague as well over here. He's from Iran, so their rotation period is like they work for almost 2.5 months, and then they go back just for like 20 days. So these days it's quite tough because of the travel restrictions. Also in exploration companies, they've decreased that rotation period in order to avoid their staff being exposed to coronavirus or anything. They've created a bubble as well, like and especially for field jobs, you would see that especially in service companies, that there's no time, especially on rig jobs where you are going on a drilling rig. For example, open hole logging, I remember this last job I went, I was up for almost 2.5 days straight without any sleep. And the weather was quite tough as well. So you need to be prepared. You need to be physically ready as well as mentally prepared for such kind of a job. Of course, desk job is everyone's dream. Everyone wants to earn easy money. There are other challenges involved in desk job. I mean, you have all other things. You are constantly being monitored. And the field, of course, you are being monitored, but not but someone's not standing at your head. I mean, and asking you to focus more on deadlines and stuff. But yeah, the life on well site, it's tough. You need to be prepared. If that's what you want, you can go for it. Desk jobs are quite hard to find early on in your career. It would be very hard to find any desk job, unless you go for masters and then you get hired as a reservoir engineer or a junior reservoir engineer. Then of course your work is mostly involved in office, but otherwise it's mostly it's on the well side.
Oh, okay. How do you see the job opportunities of our department abroad? Oh, I guess I'd just like to make a small comment here. Usually, as a fresh graduate or as an intern, you would most likely, highly likely, well, actually, almost definitely, they'll hire you in your country of nationality, because, like Doruko just said as well, the companies, it's not like they don't value you or something. It's just that they're not willing to take a chance on sending a fresh graduate abroad. So you would have to prove yourself first in your country, and then once you have experience, once you're good and whatever, then the company can be like, hey, this guy's good, and let's send him somewhere abroad, that needs more expertise or whatever. What are your thoughts on this, guys?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Usually, like the one thing which I think Matu lacks is the career fairs, and the companies coming to Matu itself and holding interviews and having some campus drive or something to hire students from universities directly. Over here, I've seen in Pakistan as well, we have that culture. In other countries, I've heard my friends telling me the same thing. One thing that Matu lacks is that aspect. But for a new graduate, fresh graduate, especially in these times, it's quite hard to secure a job somewhere abroad, unless of course you have a really good contact or something. Otherwise it's very hard to find a job. Doesn't matter what your GPA or CGPA is. It is sad reality, I would say that it's very hard to find a job abroad without any experience. That's yeah.
Okay, so here's another question from Ulash. He said, I have a question to Maz since he is in production side of the job. Is he suggesting us to involve the part of the job, and what are the hardest things that he faced while in the field?
Well, the hardest thing is we as fresh graduates, we are not that competent or knowledgeable about some operational aspects. For example, the first thing which we were taught when I joined my company was the names of the hand tools. Actually, like there are a lot of hand tools which you regularly use, so you need to be aware of the names. For example, I mean, you might know them from as something different, but in the company they call it something else. So if someone is asking, for example, my senior engineer or my chief engineer is asking for something, that he's saying, okay, bring this pipe wrench or bring this tool, and at that time if I say I bring something else, or maybe I bring it, I'm searching for it, and I mean, at the well site it's all about time. You need to manage your time perfectly, because the client, they are paying you by the hour. Actually, they pay you, they want the job to be done successfully, but also in the shortest amount of time. For example, on rig jobs, of course there is downtime as well. If you are wasting the time of the rig and it's just standing by doing nothing because of your fault. So even like my manager also says the same thing, that you need to be well prepared. Like 80% of the job is preparation, just 20% is executing it. So 80% you need to be ready, make all the checklists, everything. Of course, there's a lot of documentation involved as well before going for job, so you need to be ready for that.
All right, here we've got a question. Okay, do you think oil and natural gas will end or not to be used in the next 40 years? Well, that's a big question. So
I talked I feel like I'm the only one talking. But I'd say I talked to a senior engineer. He is uh, working in ENI, a joint venture actually in Kazakhstan. So he was telling, actually he's working in Shell actually, yeah. So he was telling me that gradually people will like the companies and people will switch more towards, the trend is going more towards natural gas engineering. uh, the demand for oil will drop eventually, but at the same time the demand for natural gas is expected to increase. This is coming from a guy who's been working, he has like almost 20 years of experience, and he's working in Shell. He's worked in US as well, in the Gulf of Mexico as well. So this is what his insight was. And of course, I mean, natural gas itself, I mean, it's much easier to extract, and it's in greater abundance. Like most countries, you would say that they're rich in oil, but these other players, for example, Qatar, I mean, they're the highest producing country with gas. Um, yeah, last time I checked, yeah, that was the fact, but I don't know about these days. But yeah, the natural gas will be an important resource in the coming future.
Hassan and Mohammed, any other comments?
No, definitely. Like it's not going to like end or something like that. I think as also Maz touched the part where he was saying in the beginning, the example he gave, like how the when that wind turbine like froze and the other things, like still people would need to use fossil fuels. And definitely for our I would say the developing countries in Africa, some countries in the Middle East like India, and all these other countries, I mean, the population, as they've said, definitely the world population will increase, and the demand for oil is going to increase as well. So like you shouldn't be worried about this. Like although mostly the European countries are like trying to transition to the net zero and all that, but this wouldn't mean like there wouldn't be an industry for the fossil fuels. So definitely for developing countries, as the population is increasing, the demand for oil and the fossil fuels will definitely increase. So in the meantime, I don't think it's something to like worry about, even in like the next 20 years, for instance. It's still something. That will be there, and probably also the jobs will be there. But the only thing is just the transitioning of the skills. I mean, for example, I was reading an article recently, like the people, like the generation, the baby boomers, for example, like most of the generation, like who are in work right now, are lacking digital skills. So I mean, even as you can see, probably in our curriculum and in mostly different curriculums in other universities, we are still relying on the same curriculums for petroleum engineering. But now the industry is evolving. So as we as graduates, we are going to graduate, but we are lacking digital skills. I mean, since in the beginning, in the first year to fourth year, for instance, there's nothing that that's going on in the current industry that we have learned. We are still like lagging behind in that aspect. So this would be the big change. This would be the big change. So if you are going to have these skills and you have the knowledge of petroleum engineering, it's perfect. So the old, I would say the old generation didn't have the skills, and most of them, they're still in the job. So, and the new ones are trying to come in, and it's hard for them. But now also the new ones need to learn these skills for the industry, which is now transitioning. So it's not a problem, definitely. Like as you're saying, maybe it will end, it will not end. I think the jobs only maybe might be difficult, but the oil and gas industry will still be there, probably in the next 20 years for sure. It will be there.
All right, thank you guys. One more thing I'd like to add is it's also related to what my cousin, who's also working in Slumberjee, also said, and also what Emre Hoja said. So with these like skills, right? The education sector, I'm not talking about university in particular, the entire education sector is the one that's lagging the most. So the fastest sector to update themselves is the technology sector, and then comes the industrial, like factories or whatever. They said, I don't know from which source this guy got it from, but he said the education sector usually their lag is around 50 years. So when there's something that changes happening in the real world, it takes 50 years for the schools, high school, whatever, and universities to change. So in Emre Hoja's last seminar, actually in Metu, he was there last year, and it was his last semester there. He gave a seminar. I think it was I don't know if it was in Colorado School of Mines or Texas A&M. I don't know. He gave a seminar about machine learning, which is what his thesis and his work is on, right? And so when he was there, he said that all the people there thought like machine learning and AI was just buzzwords and stuff, right? But then the following semester, they made that as a minor and also a huge part of the course. So yeah, the education sector does lag in comparison to the other sectors. So that's what you should be aware of. And also back to the demand of oil. So like what Hassan said, it's the developing nations are still developing, and we're going to continue to develop. Now Europe has a small population in comparison to the third world countries, of course. And although let's say Europe does in fact fully transition to renewables, other countries like you said, like India and China and Southeast Asia, we still have lots of people, and we still need to use oil because first of all, renewables are expensive, number one. Number two, you need to be like super highly educated, and not just one person needs to be highly educated, but the entire team needs to know how to run a nuclear plant, for example. So I don't think you'd have to worry about the oil industry, whether people have supply for oil or have the demand for oil in the next 40 years, or at least in your lifetime. I guess that's all. Another question from Emrahan. Do you think that we should be educated in other business fields while doing petroleum engineering? I think, yeah, you should if you have the chance. Study finance or marketing, I think. What do you guys think? Or MBA?
This is not just that you. this is not just a duty of university professors. You need to take the initiative. Even if it's not included in your degree, you need to have knowledge of other fields as well. And of course, even if you have knowledge of petroleum engineering, there are other aspects like operational knowledge of petroleum engineering and theoretical knowledge are two very different things. This is something you will realize once you get your first job and you start working in the upstream industry. So try to study on your own, try to explore other options. If you're looking for transitioning towards some other sector, of course, then this is a must that you need to be more aware of it. Also, business fields are a part of petroleum engineering. We do have a course in our fourth year, uh, petroleum property valuation. Yeah, so that is an important course, and it does give you an insight of what goes on. Like, we're not just there to go and just dig a hole and extract oil. We're there to think of it economically as well, that whether it will be profitable or not, because at the end of the day, this oil and gas sector is a business itself. So in order to run a business successfully, you need to think about these things.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got the next question here. Do you think it would be helpful to participate in the SP events like paper contests, etc., for finding job in the future, or would it be helpful for just academic career? I mean, did it benefit you until now? I think you were board members, right? So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mohammed, you can go and start.
I didn't participate in such an event, but I believe it's something. It's a plus for the masters first, and if you're going for the field, it's also a plus because you're working and you have strong like academic what's called academic background. So yeah, if you're doing this thing, for sure, it's like a plus. You don't need even to ask the question, I think.
Look, I think it's very important. Okay. So SP like events like the paper contest. So for masters, it's very important, like Mohammed said. For what I'm seeing, for example, in my country, they also have like the same thing for Asia Pacific. Like we're in the Europe section, and they're in the Asia Pacific. These people who win, okay, the paper contests, like they get higher priority in office jobs. So basically, it doesn't mean like you get to choose. Well, it just means you have more choices. If you don't have any extra skills or whatever, they just like they'll most likely put you into drilling. But if people know that you can do this and you can do that, and especially if your thesis was very good and you won the contest, and your thesis has something to do with reservoir, or enhanced oil recovery or water flooding, they'll put you in that department as a junior engineer. So it'll just like widen your choices. If you do something extra like that. But again, you should do it because you like it. Don't just do it
Exactly.
just for no reason. It's not easy.
In.
It's not easy, but we have good professors, and you know that from our website. We've got many winners in the past from Maz. Oh, no, not sorry. Yes, sir. But Maz was president, and you were right. Maz was president. He was a board member.
That's the thing. You asked it. I believe Maz that time, like he wasn't. I don't know. He wasn't like interested in this thing, so he didn't join any. Otherwise, like I remember Salah Hoja was offering him to work alone, like not even with another guy. Like he thought you can do it alone, I believe, but Maz refuses for. I don't know. He just wants to focus on different things.
Like personally, the reason why I didn't go for research course was at that time, like I used to think that these research courses are good for your master applications and also for gaining theoretical knowledge regarding these things. I wanted to gain as much operational knowledge as I could. That is why I went for courses rather than going for this research course. But I do think that if I were given a chance again, I would go for research, because it teaches you not just this accomplishment that you participated in a paper contest and you won. It also teaches you how to write a research paper itself. and Emre Hoja being perfectly good mentor, because he was the one who was grading these papers and research papers, and he was the one who used to give the final grade and give you advice. So it's a good opportunity. It obviously it will help in your academic career, also in your professional career as well. Like, it will look good on your CV as well, that you participated in an event and you took the initiative. I mean, it shows, it's not just that you won something, it shows that you are willing to take an initiative, because this is an extracurricular, this counts as an extracurricular activity, not as an academic activity. You wrote a paper, okay, you wrote it for your university course, but you took the initiative of sending it in paper contest, and then you took the initiative to travel there. If you're given the chance, you traveled there, then you presented it in front of other nationalities as well. You make contacts as well once you go there. I mean, you make new friends, of course, then they tell you about their experience, so it's really good. I mean, I would advise you, I did not go for it, but I'd advise all you third or fourth year engineering students, and also all the new engineers who are just in prep school, or in your first or second year, that you should be of the mind of taking research as a course. Because although it might seem like a big challenge that you need to put in extra work, there's no career like proper curriculum decided for it, you need to do all the work yourself, but it's a good experience. And you learn a lot, not just participate in a contest, but also you'll learn other skills. So personally, I feel that it's a really good opportunity if you guys go for it.
Thank you so much, Mas. That's great. So one more thing is, like this year, right? We had the chance to actually participate in the Petro Bowl, the European one and the global one, because it's online, right? But unfortunately, no one was interested. So, since this podcast is on record, okay, I would like to say, for those of you who are not pursuing the PNG 490 research course or going to participate in the paper contest, please participate in the Petro Bowl. Why? Because we have very good chance. I'm serious. Saleh Hoja, a long time ago, he was very confident about our curriculum as well and our students. And Burak, when he was traveling to, I think Nasrahan, you were there. You were traveling with Burak to, I don't know which.
Ukraine.
Yeah, Ukraine. I don't know which university it was. And Burak said, I mean, I'm not dissing on that university. I'm sure it's a good university. But Burak said their curriculum wasn't on par with ours. That's what Burak said. So like we should participate in the Petro Bowl, like if so when you're fourth year, guys, for those of you who are watching this live or on video, if you're not taking the research course, please participate in the Petro Bowl. That is also very beneficial for your CV, and you will get to meet the regional director and the president of the SP, and you get to meet them, and they'll give you their award and stuff. And it's also a good experience, and you'll meet people and stuff like that, exactly like Maz said. So, right, first year here, what is the Petro Bowl? So it's a contest for petroleum engineering studies, basically. They would like to encourage, it's usually a team of 4 or 5. Usually, ideally, it would be someone from first year, someone from second year, someone third year, someone from fourth year. Usually it's like that. Or if you want to be, overpowered, you can just put all fourth years there and then, dominate the competition. But I don't know. So I would really encourage everyone to participate in the future. Unfortunately, we did not participate this year. Only one guy applied. I forgot him. I forgot his name, but only one guy applied, so we couldn't participate. So please participate in Petro Bowl if you can. Do you think it would be helpful? Okay, so I'm gonna skip that question. So you guys can just Google that question. There are statistics, and the statistics are correct for each respective country. So you can search the respective blah 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 for each respective country and for a fresh graduate. So any other questions, guys, from the chat room, or should I go back to the list? If you guys have any other questions, I answered the Petro Bowl question, I guess. So thankfully they did not disconnect this Zoom call. I don't know why, which is weird, because I'm using a free account. So thank God for that. So while we're waiting for the questions, can you guys make an exciting pose or something for the thumbnail on YouTube, so that people will click on it, be like, what? Okay. This will be on record, so just pause. Okay, you ready?
Hassan.
Hassan,
Okay.
Hassan is the hoja of
Okay,
posing.
Hassan, come on, pause, bro. Am I doing Adhan?
Wow, that wasn't.
Okay. Okay. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. That was stupid. You know, it's worth it for the views. You know. Okay. So, any comments on recommendation letters for masters or for job? Recommendation letters from professors or from people from our internship. What are your comments on that?
I think I took the recommendation letter. I asked for recommendation letter, a general one from Emre Hoja. He gave it to me as well, but till now I haven't used it. And also, recommendation letters are usually, directly sent from the professors to the professors of that university. They don't usually, trust students to have and upload the recommendation letters themselves. Of course, they can add anything they want in it. That is why. But yeah, recommendation letters, uh, I mean, the Hassan and Mohammed can answer better about this question. For job, not that much. I mean, references, like at the end of resumes, you might have seen that phrase that references can be provided upon request. So if a certain company requires any reference, you can ask your previous manager, or your high school or your university professor to give you one, and they can give it to you, or they can directly send it to the company.
Hassan or Mohammed, any comments?
I never used it.
Okay. Hassan?
Regarding the recommendation letters, they come in handy. I would say mostly, as I think Maz touched, maybe not in the job aspects, but in mostly, like I would say PhD, for instance, mostly because, for example, here in the university, actually it's not easy to get a recommendation letter. Like the professors value their, I mean, like the grade that you would get in their course. For example, they would actually not give you a recommendation letter if, in my university, if you don't get 27 out of 30. So you would need to get 27 out of 30 for them to like write the recommendation letter for you. Like, so it's like they would know that this student is top in this, let's say, in the subject in this regard. So it's I in the beginning I thought like it was something just I would just email a professor, and but actually they value that you should get, let's say, good grades in that subject. So even this, like for your future reference, even maybe if like the professor, or maybe if maybe in the future, maybe in the university you will be in, maybe you will not maybe have like the professor maybe will not tell you about this, but you should, if you are considering maybe to like work with him, or maybe to get the reference letter, I mean, you should get a very, very good grade. Like I think a 27 out of 30 is like maybe a 90 out of 100. So it's like you should get this grade, because that professor will send, let's say, this recommendation letter to, let's say, another professor. And normally the professors, they have good connections. Like one of our professors here, like she's from US, and like she normally says, she normally like said like she knows like other professors in the US, for instance. So if she would recommend a student to the other professors, so like you need to have, like, let's say, a high grade in that subject. So in this way it like works mostly on your favor. And even if they don't say it, but they would want you to have like a very high grade mostly in this particular subject, for like them to like let's say recommend you something good, and like even write like good things in the letter.
No, I would just like to add the same thing, like as Hassan said, because recommendation letter is like someone is vouching for you. If they are vouching for you, of course, you need to prove yourself in their eyes that, okay, you are, worthy enough to be recommended to another university or another professor that they know. If they don't think that you are capable enough, of keeping that value, I mean, they are, putting in that effort and all they're writing all about you. Of course, another aspect is that you need to be more active in your classes. Otherwise, if the professor doesn't know anything about you, how will he write a recommendation letter? So you need to be more active in classes. You need to be at your A game when you're giving these exams. Also, as Hassan said, that you need to perform well in their courses. That is how you will convince them to write a good recommendation letter for you, and then they will recommend you to other professors. Otherwise, I mean, they might reject you straight on. They would say, no, I will not write a recommendation letter for you.
Okay, all right, that's great. Thank you, guys. Another one is, oh, for the fourth year students. So when you guys graduate, when you guys finish your last exams to when you started your master's or your first job, what was the procedure like from our university? How and when did you get your diploma? Did you need to get your diploma and your report card attested to the Ministry of Education? When are you getting these? Do you usually get them after graduation or after some time? Some of them told us we get them in like September or August or something. What are your comments on that, on the diploma and the report card transcript? I mean,
We got it
Now,
during the normal days, I think.
yeah,
It
now
wasn't
the
during the
dynamics,
COVID time. No?
yeah, now the dynamics are different. So at that time, we were physically able to attend the ceremony, and then they handed us over our report cards or transcript, as you would say. Transcripts are usually available online as well. Like there is that portal, you can get it in soft copy. For hard copy, of course, they provide a detailed transcript that is given to you on your graduation. So now it all depends on the logistics of the university, that how do they send, by which means they're sending it to you guys, because probably I hope they have this ceremony, but I mean, if there's a bleak chance that this might not happen, so they will be posting it to you. So it depends on the postal service that how long it takes for it to reach you. But regardless of the degree, you can still apply. You will have the soft copy beforehand. Like you can request the registrar office or the administrative office to send you a soft copy of your degree at least, so that at least you can apply or upload on your applications if you're planning on applying for jobs or anything.
okay, that's great. Thank you so much. So that's all the questions that we have so far from the live session and also from the post that we did. Are there any other comments or just suggestions that you guys have for us undergraduates, or we can, anything at all?
Just to summarize everything, like I would just repeat what I just said in the do's and don'ts, that try to explore the petroleum engineering field as well. I mean, there are a lot of jobs. You might just think that since we just have three courses, drilling, production, reservoir, these are the only job roles which we can secure. No, there are other job aspects as well. You will be taking courses of well testing as well. There is well test engineer as well. This is another field. So in service sector, you have a lot of different aspects. You need to research about them. You need to search about them actually. Uh, there is wireline as well. There are other cementing as well. There is mud engineer as well. So there are a lot of aspects. You need to search about them, and then once you find a job opportunity, apply. Before applying, you need to research about it, that okay, yeah, there is a job opening for a fresh engineer. It is for a mud logger or a mud engineer, but what exactly does a mud engineer do? You do not get to learn about it in the university. You need to learn more about it, and of course try to learn skills as you go along.
Right. Thank you, Maz. Hassan, any comments?
Yeah, I guess Mars touched most of the things. Yeah, definitely. Another thing would be to like probably the normal quote, like journey before destination. Like just enjoy the things you're doing right now. I mean, as you have reached so far, I guess third year, fourth year. I mean, don't go back thinking, why did I get into this industry, or maybe why did I choose petroleum? Why? Now there is no time to like look back and say like I should have done something different. Or just go with what you're doing, finish, and then you would try to think of the next step. But at the meantime, like in the meantime, just enjoy what you're doing, and don't have this mindset. Another thing, like this is from my experience. Like when let's say you have things, like you have, let's say, materials, you have like things, always try to discuss it with your friends. If you have problems, if you have exams, and try to treat the exam as the common enemy, but not as something that you are competing with, you know, like each other. Like treat the exam as the common enemy with your friends. Like we need to ace this exam, you know, like, and you help each other, you know. Like if someone is, let's say, getting 27 out of 30, you're getting 24, 21, don't feel bad about him. Like rather than try to tell him how he or she is going to improve you. This is how it was going with Mars, I remember. And you should like be looking up to that person, and you should like know your weaknesses and your strengths, and you work together, and then you treat the exam as the common enemy. And yeah, other than that, just enjoy what you're doing in this time, because definitely it will not come back. And don't have the mindset, another mindset, like if you're studying or something like that, and another person is like telling you you're studying too much or something like this. Do not even like think like what you're doing is why I'm studying too much or some. It depends. It definitely depends on different people. I mean, you already have your goals, and you already know what you're going to do and what you're planning to do. So not be taken back like maybe I'm studying too much, or maybe this. It doesn't work that way. Every person has different mindsets. Maybe that person is going to take another career after finishing, so he or she doesn't really need it as much as how you would need it to be. So yeah, I think that's it.
Mohammed, any comments? Anything you'd like to add?
Just again recalling the same thing. Just prepare for everything for your future. I mean, earlier, make your plans, and I believe you will be successful as long as you're working. And the working actually starts after graduation. I mean, whatever you're doing now is just a preparation. Don't expect that you will get a job directly. I mean, after you just finish, I get the certificate, diploma, I will go to the job. There you have to start working for it. You have to keep up with it.
All right, thank you guys so much. So we've got this other question. All right, so the reason why we chose Metu, it has good ranking. You guys can check it out from QS University Rankings, and also we've got a good history. Like, you know, our seniors have been winning the SPE contests and stuff, and also our professors are very well connected. All of them have had their experience doing their PhDs, their masters, and their postdocs abroad, whether it would be, and they're all in like the best petroleum engineering universities in the world, not in America, not in Europe, but in the world. These include Texas A&M, I forgot the rest.
Penn State,
right?
And West Virginia.
Yeah, so those universities. So again, we are here for bachelors. So and for bachelors, like college, university, we have a very good record, and also the price here isn't too bad either. You know, if you study bachelors in the U.S. as a foreigner, even as like a U.S. citizen, they pay like $20,000 to $30,000, and as a foreigner, you pay $40,000 to $60,000 per year. So, you know, and in here in Metu, Cyprus, I'm a foreigner and I'm paying like, I think almost $10,000 per year. So, and our education is on par with theirs, you know. That's why we've got many graduates going to those universities for their postdoc, for their PhD, for their master's. So that's it. So I guess that's all the questions we have now, and we've already made our remarks. Emirhan, can you please turn on your camera and your mic? We are about to close the session.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes. We can't see you though.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. It was an honor to listen to you. Your experiences are very important to us. Take good care of yourself and see you in the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, guys. See you.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you again.